Just overall being something that he's not been in the ring with. I'm the total package, and honestly, sometimes I think he doubts himself.
Boxing fans are now paying close attention to Tank Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. as they get ready for a fight that could make or break their careers. Tank has a lot of power, and Roach fights technically. People have different thoughts, and some of the biggest names in fighting are weighing in. What do they say about the fight that will change the lightweight division?
Yeah, man, I mean, it's going to go. Tank going to be losing the first 3 rounds. Then he's going to download the data. Then he going to knock this dude out in round 7 or 8. Then he going to do the backflip. Then
Shakur Stevenson didn't hold back when he talked about this fight. Shakur doesn't just want Tank to show off his skills. He also wants Lamont Roach to have a chance to shine on the big stage. Shakur thinks many people are underestimating Roach and what he can bring to the table. A lot of people seem to be sleeping on Lamont. Shakur told a reporter that he has skills and that now is the time for him to show everyone who he really is. Shakur went on to say that Roach was a great fighter with great skill and the ability to change his strategy during fights, which is something that Shakur said Tank's opponents haven't always been able to do. Roach's past and his desire to prove himself could make this fight much tighter than most people think.
I say 9th round.
What?
I say 9th round.
You said 9th?
Yeah.
What's your response to that, Lamont?
Look, he got scared. Look. He looked at night.
I'm telling
Shakur also touched on Tank's dominance, admitting his devastating knockout power and sharp precision. Tank is dangerous, no question, Shakur admitted, but that doesn't mean Roach doesn't have a chance. Sometimes it's the outsider who surprises everyone. Shakur's own experience as a fighter who has met tough competition gives weight to his words. He's seen firsthand how preparation and strategy can flip the script even in fights where the odds seem stacked.
Yeah. Thank all day, baby. Thank all day. Easy work.
There's a lot of talent in the lightweight class, and Stevenson talked about what this fight means for that. Vasily Lomachenko is one of them. William Zepeda and even up-and-coming stars like Keyshawn Davis are on fire in this division. He said every fight is important because it sets the stage for what's next, and who knows, maybe I'll be fighting one of them soon. With that, Shakur left fans not only excited for Davis versus Roach but also for the future of lightweight boxing. Ryan Garcia, on the other hand, had a very different take on this fight, known for his vocal nature. Ryan didn't hold back when sharing his opinion. He has criticized the matchup, calling it a low-risk pick for Tank. According to Ryan, Davis should be shooting for bigger names and tougher opponents to truly cement his legacy as one of the greats. Tank is taking the easy way. Ryan said in an interview that Lamont Roach is go, but let's be honest, he's not the guy people want to see fight Tank. Ryan's frustration was clear as he talked about how this fight feels like a missed chance for Davis to prove himself against the top talent in the division. Fans want to see the big fights, that's what gets people excited. This is just another easy win for him.
Here's my take on the fight. Everything is true about this situation. One, Gervonta Tank Davis was being ducked leading up to this.
Surprisingly, Ryan also gave a controversial opinion about Tank's power, something that most people consider his biggest strength. Tank doesn't hit as hard as people think. Ryan stated during a podcast appearance, "It's not the power, it's the accuracy. The hits you don't see coming are the ones that hurt, and Tank is great at that, but raw power, no, I felt harder hits." While most fans agreed with Ryan's assessment, others thought he was downplaying Tank's abilities out of personal rivalry. Regardless of the purpose, Ryan's words added fuel to the fire, making this fight even more of a talking point in boxing circles.
Because Gervonta is considered like, you said he's not a big puncher, but he's considered not, like one of the, is it like precision?
Bro, he cannot hit hard, I'm telling you. He's accuracy. The punches that you don't see are the ones that hurt you, not the ones that you do see.
Yeah. Teofimo Lopez, another big name in the sport, also weighed in on the matchup, and like Ryan, he didn't hold back. For Teofimo, the pick of opponent left much to be desired. Why is Tank facing someone from a lower weight class? Teofimo questioned during a podcast interview if he should be fighting the best in his class, not pulling guys up to make himself look good. Teofimo's criticism wasn't just about the fight itself, but also about what it says about Tank's job choices. If you want to be great, you've got to take risks. Teofimo said you've got to step out of your safe zone and face the top guys. That's what I've done, and that's what Tank needs to do. Teofimo also brought up the circumstances surrounding Lamont Roach's involvement in this fight. Roach was originally set to defend his WBA super featherweight title against another opponent before the WBA granted him a one-time exception to move up in weight and challenge Tank for Teofimo. This situation brought questions about fairness and whether Roach is being set up to fail. They're putting him in a tough spot. Teofimo said if he loses, he's got to go back down and deal with the mess there. If he wins, he's in a whole new class. Either way, it's not easy for him despite his complaints. Teofimo acknowledged that Roach has skills and could possibly pull off an upset. Don't get me wrong, Roach can fight, but this matchup is not what the fans want, and it's not what Tank needs if he wants to be recognized as one of the greats.
I'm gonna beat his ass for y'all talking. Y'all better be quiet. All that, like, switch it up. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Whatever y'all want. Mama, he can't get about nothing over. None of that. Not at all. Fuck him up. Not at all. Never. Nothing.
Oscar de la Hoya has also gotten in the line of comments, and he hasn't at all held back on his views. As someone who has lived the highs and lows of boxing, Oscar respects Lamont Roach's bold decision to move up a weight class to take on the WBA lightweight champion, but puts serious doubts on Roach's ability to handle Tank's explosive power in the ring. In his view, the fight looks less like a competitive clash and more like a chance to reinforce Tank's star power. De la Hoya, who built a career on taking risky and high-stakes fights, has repeatedly emphasized the value of fighting top-tier opponents to secure a legacy. He was the first one to criticize Mike Tyson's decision to fight Jake, and now he thinks Tank has the skills and charisma to become one of boxing's all-time greats. But the choice to fight Roach might not do much to bolster that reputation.
No one's been able to solve Tank Davis. What do you need to do together with you and your team and obviously your son to score that victory?
We got a game plan. We're going to execute it and we're going to get the move.
On the Club Shay Shay YouTube channel, De La Hoya expanded on why Davis, such a standout fighter despite his controversial choice of opponents. Tank's a beast, no question about it. The reason he's so special is that he doesn't just fight. He puts everything on the line every time he goes into the ring. De La Hoya said that's why the fans love him, but at some point you've got to take those fights that define your career still. The Golden Mo didn't shy away from pointing out the promotional strategy at play. He hinted that the choice of Roach as an opponent feels or like a carefully calculated move to maintain Tank's undefeated record while showcasing his talent to a broader audience, while that approach helps Tank's marketability. De La Hoya warned it might leave boxing purists wanting more. The fight, according to him, risks being seen as a mismatch, especially given Roach's super featherweight roots and the uphill battle he faces against Tank's overwhelming power and size. Oscar added that for Roach, this fight is a huge moment. Regardless of the result, it's his chance to prove he belongs on the biggest stage, even if the odds are stacked against him. Roach, however, will need more than just heart. He'll need to execute a near-perfect plan to even stand a chance against Davis. Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn has also joined in, though his take on the fight is less critical.
What changed? What made this shit trash? Garbage.
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
Gervonta, something should have happened during this time, because when I saw you at the Frank Martin press conference, it looked like you were like the talks about retirement was not even.
He thinks Tank's decision to fight Lamont Roach stems from a lack of other high-profile options for December. According to Hearn, most of the big names in the lightweight and junior lightweight divisions were unavailable for different reasons. Ryan Garcia is banned, Shakur Stevenson is recovering from an injury, and Isaac Cruz was recently beaten. Fighters like Devin Haney and Vasily Lomachenko also had their reasons for being out of the picture, leaving Tank's team with limited choices for Hearn. The criticism Tank is facing for picking Roach is somewhat unfair. He sees Lamont Roach as a skilled fighter, though obviously not one with mainstream appeal. Lamont Roach is a good fighter, no question. The problem is nobody knows who he is. For casual fans, this doesn't feel like a big fight, and that's where the reaction is coming from, Hearn said in an interview. However, Hearn recognized the frustration of die-hard boxing fans who feel Tank's resume is padded with relatively safe opponents. He stated that while fans might prefer Davis to face more challenging competition, the economics of boxing often dictate matchups like this.
What do you think of the announcement of the Gervonta Davis-Roach fight?
I think that, it's had a lot of criticism, but It's not a bad fight, you know. Lamont Roach is a world champion. He's smaller than Gervonta Davis. The problem is not many people are aware of who he is or his ability. But he can fight. I don't think it's a huge fight, but not a terrible one.
Hearn also touched on the idea that Tank promoters might be overprotective of his undefeated record, while keeping Tank unbeaten keeps his allure. Hearn hinted that taking riskier fights could elevate his standing and earning potential in the long run. He's at a point where the fans want big fights, not just fights that keep him winning. Hearn said that's the next step for Tank if he wants to go down as one of the all-time greats. Then there was Devin Haney. Devin Haney, another top name in the lightweight class, had a more personal reaction to the fight announcement. Haney, who has a long-standing rivalry with Tank, took to social media to throw some shade. After Davis shared promotional pictures of his fight with Roach, Haney clapped back with a number of posts mocking Tank's Joseph opponent. Haney also reminded fans of their past altercations, including a heated fight outside of a Las Vegas nightclub earlier this year. Haney's critique added fuel to the narrative that Tank is intentionally avoiding tougher fights. Fans have long speculated about a possible matchup between Haney and Davis, but the announcement of the Roach fight has only pushed that dream further down the line. While Davis and Haney are often linked as two of the brightest stars in boxing, their paths seem to be diverging, with Tank facing Roach and Haney apparently eyeing bigger challenges.
Are you retiring? What changed? What made this shit trash? Garbage.
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
I'm out of them.
Gervonta, something should have happened during the time, because when I saw you at the Frank Martin press conference, it looked like you were like the talks about retirement was not even.
Davis, for his part, hasn't shied away from answering the criticism. He's defended his choice of Roach, stressing that the super featherweight champion earned his shot by moving up in weight and taking risks on top of all the comments. Trainer Calvin Ford is feeling that heat as the boxing world questions the choice of his fighter. Ford has tried to justify the fight by mentioning the history between Tank and Roach, stressing that the two have known each other since their amateur days. Ford explained that they had back-and-forth battles in their younger years and that the fight would be good for the community. However, these comments have done little to satisfy fans who are expecting a higher level of competition. Boxing fans are known for their passionate views, and many are frustrated by the repetitive nature of Tank's opponent choices. This isn't the first time that Tank has chosen to fight a fighter from a lower weight class, as he previously defended his lightweight belt against Leo Santa Cruz and Hector Luis Garcia, both of whom came up from the super featherweight division. Ford's insistence that the fight is good for the community hasn't made any sense to the wider audience, as most fans outside of Baltimore and Washington, D.C., don't see the importance of Tank fighting someone with Roach's credentials.
Together, you know, Roach and him back and forth battles and whatnot. It's gonna be a pretty interesting fight. You know what I'm saying? Because Roach he come to fight, and I think it's a great fight. Everybody talking all that stuff about why Roach, because he signed and took the fight. You know what I'm saying? And it's good for the community.
Well, it's understandable that Tank and Roach have a personal past. The boxing crowd has made it clear that they want to see Tank face more dangerous opponents. The lightweight division is filled with talent, and fans have long been asking for Tank to face fighters like Raymond Muratalla, Andy Cruz, Keyshawn Davis, and Abdullah Mason. These are the fighters that fans think could push Tank to his limits and offer the kind of exciting matchups that would live up to his status as one of the sport's biggest stars. Instead, Tank has chosen for a fight with Roach, a move that some critics see as a way to avoid risk while still staying active.
Yeah, Tank's my guy too, man. I appreciate him. He shouted me out after the win. And you know what's crazy? After he beat Hector, I told him thank you. I was like, I seen him.
It's clear that the boxing world is frustrated by Tank's decision, as many think he is taking the easy route. The criticism is not only coming from fans, but also from other figures in the boxing world. Kenny Ellis, a trainer and former boxer, also shared his thoughts on the fight, pointing out that Roach's professional record has been less than stellar. While Ellis admits that Roach is a talented fighter with a strong amateur background, he points out that Roach has never faced top-tier competition in the pros. The loss to Hearn is particularly telling, as it shows that Roach has struggled against top competition in comparison to Tank, who has shown himself to be a dominant force in the lightweight division, dispatching tough competitors with relative.
Not as popular, they think he can't fight, but Lamont can fight. And he got a hell of a pedigree, you know, 7-time national champion. And he's tough. He can fight.
Absolutely, 100%.
Ellis also noted that the matchup with Roach is a continuation of a trend for Tank. He's faced smaller fighters before, and it seems like he's avoiding the top names in the division. Ellis claimed that fighters like Andy Cruz and Keyshawn Davis, Raymond Muratalla and Floyd Schofield would all jump at the chance to fight Tank if given the option. These fighters represent a new generation of talent in the lightweight division, and many think that they could provide the challenge that Tank needs to prove his greatness. By choosing Roach, Tank is once again facing a fighter who is not considered a real threat, and this has led to growing frustration among fans who feel that Tank is simply picking the easier path.
What changed? What made this shit trash, garbage?
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
Gervonta, something should have happened throughout the time, because when I saw you at the Frank Martin press conference, it looked like you were like the talks about retirement was not even.
Ford's comments in support of the fight have done little to calm the situation. He argues that Tank's attention is solely on the fight in front of him, and that he's not concerned with what critics have to say. Ford pointed out that people will always criticize fighters for taking what they view as weak opponents, but that's just part of the business. He compared the situation to the time when people were calling for Tank to fight Pitbull Cruz again, after Cruz had won a belt in the light welterweight division. Ford's attitude suggests that he's not concerned with the opinions of fans and that Tank's team is focused solely on the fight at hand. However, this reaction has been widely seen as unsatisfactory, as it fails to address the broader issues at play.
So can you confirm or deny Lamont Roach would be the backup?
No, Lamont Roach and Tank got a history together, an amateur history where they went back and forth as amateurs. You know what I'm saying?
Tank's decision to face Roach has sparked an ongoing debate about risk and reward in boxing. While some argue that Tank is simply taking the easy way, others think that his choice is a reflection of the challenges fighters face when negotiating big fights. According to Ford, some of the top names in the lightweight division have turned down the chance to fight, tanking prices themselves out, or simply refusing to bargain. It's true that Tank has struggled to secure big names for his fights, and it's possible that this has influenced his choice to fight Roach. However, many feel that Tank should be doing more to push for the best matchups rather than taking fights with low-risk opponents.
Hey Tank, real talk. Will Calvin be with you on this fight? No, you Tank.
Huh?
Will Calvin be with you on this fight?
I don't know. We gotta see.
One thing is clear. Tank Davis has the talent to be one of the greatest fighters of his time, but his choice of opponents in recent years has raised questions about his desire to face the best. While he may have a solid fan base and a proven ability to create excitement, many fans feel that he is not living up to his potential by picking fights against smaller opponents and is not giving himself the opportunity to prove himself against the best the sport has to offer. If he wants to truly be remembered as one of the greats, he will need to take on the top fighters in the lightweight division and show that he can beat them their best. Pressure is now on Tank and his team to make the big fights that fans want to see. There's no denying that the boxing world is hungry for the top names to face each other, and Tank Davis is at the center of that talk. However, if he continues to shy away from the toughest challenges, his legacy could be tainted by missed chances. Fans want to see Tank meet the best in the division, and until that happens, the criticisms will continue to grow louder. It's time for Tank to show that he's ready to take on the challenges that come with being one of boxing's biggest stars, and that means facing the toughest opponents out there, not just the easiest ones.
What changed? What made this shit trash, garbage?
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
Gervonta, something should have happened throughout this time, because when I saw you at the Frank Martin press conference, it looked like you were like the talks about retirement was not even.
But, well, it's just a few days ago that he suggested retirement. So do you really think these fights will happen? And how do you think Lamont Roach will perform against Tank? Come fight night, share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more information. See you in the next one.